my appetizers.
The warm-up one, now this is the real one.
Take that one.
Regular meeting of the City Council held in the Council Chamber on Thursday, March 10th, 2016 at 7 o'clock p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice this meeting was posted on March 8th, 2016. This meeting is being taped and is live on SCTV. Also, please turn off your cell phone ringers. There's a lot of people in here. It's a happy crowd, and just take all the pictures you want, but turn off your cell phone ringers, please. All councilors are present. Council President Turiel presiding. Councilor Gerard moves to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. I now request that everybody please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilor Sargent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The public testimony, none. I will, that's a change for this week. I now ask that a motion be made to allow Mayor Driscoll to address us.
So moved.
Councilor McCarthy.
I move that we allow Mayor Driscoll to address us and take up the matter of the swearing in of a new captain of the police department, and it was very well deserved, so with no objection.
Mayor Driscoll.
It's a pleasure to be here this evening. It's too bad now Captain Prasnewski doesn't have any friends, and we couldn't really fill the place. Definitely just want to offer a few comments before inviting Chief Butler to come up. The chief actually officially makes the appointment to captain, and I have the good fortune of swearing in this appointment and confirming it. And I couldn't be happier to be here this evening to see Conrad achieve the rank of captain. He's done such a marvelous job over the years. I think it is a testament to the people who are in this room. It's a cross-section of individuals, whether you've worked with him as a neighbor, as part of a neighborhood association, up at the courts, as our public information officer. He is the face and voice you see when something doesn't go well in the community, as well as when things are going great. And he does all of that with a high degree of professionalism, extremely relatable, always able to put himself in the shoes of others and work towards a solution. And those are exactly the traits and the characteristics that we admire in him, and we're so looking forward to working with him as captain. Dedicated professionalism, and someone who always puts the needs of our community ahead of himself, and certainly is looking forward to making an impact in the department in this level that he's achieved as captain. And again, I couldn't be more pleased, and to offer my own congratulations prior to swearing you in. Thank you for all you've done, and to your family for the sacrifices you put up with as we have had Conrad on our team for a good number of years. We know it's not just one person, and families always play that sacrifice. Thank you, Conrad, for all you've done, and looking forward to swearing you in.
Thank you.
And with that, I would invite Chief Butler to come to the podium to offer a few remarks as well, and directly after that, we'll head over towards you, Conrad, so we can officially swear you in.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for allowing us to do this beforehand for the really large crowd here. It does sort of speak volumes about Conrad. At this particular point, I'm very happy to have the opportunity to promote Conrad to the rank of captain. He's a hardworking and friendly person, but he has a great family, and they're very supportive of him just as much as he's supportive of them. Conrad's been with the Salem Police Department for 38 years. He's like a relic. When you look a little closer, you can actually see the value. He has survived changes in law enforcement for almost 4 decades. And looking at Conrad's career, his attributes and his contributions to the department and to the city, it's what makes him valuable. The timeliness of his effective community engagement initiatives and his involvement in the department and the community is what compelled me to appoint him to this position. When the community policing took hold in the police departments across the nations in the early 1990s, Conrad was at the forefront of several key initiatives, from starting the first neighborhood groups and organizations to the Citizens Police Academy and the award-winning live police television program Behind the Badge. His efforts were tremendous for the department and for the community. He did an awesome job at every task that he undertook. He also received the Andrew Quinn Award for his commitment and dedication to the disabled community. He served on the Governor's Hate Task Force, beginning at its inception in 1993, and he continues those efforts now today here in our community with the No Place for Hate community, and working on civil rights. And it is worthy of an applause. These efforts that he's undertaken at this point epitomize what we need to do to bring trust, building trust between the police department and the community. His charitable work with the Salem Children's Charity speaks volume about his support for the Salem community. Most of us are quite attuned to the deep commitment and ardent dedication through his work, his relentless effort to uncover the truth. And it was never more apparent than and highlighted when the disappearance of Martha Brailsford and his efforts in that particular investigation. It was really all his work that really brought together that situation. This is the type of concerted effort that Conrad brings into every assignment and task that he's undertaken. And for these reasons and many more that all of you know without me even having to say anything, is why I'm so extremely pleased to appoint him at this particular point to the position of captain, not only for the Salem Police Department, but for the entire Salem community. And I really look forward to challenge him even more in his great leadership role as a captain of the police department.
You can please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I
Conrad Prasnewski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge and perform
discharge and perform
all the duties
of the duties
incumbent upon me as captain,
incumbent upon me as captain,
acting to the best of my ability and understanding,
acting to the best ability and understanding,
agreeably with the Constitution and laws
agreeably with the Constitution and laws
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts
and the Charter and ordinances
and the Charter and ordinances
of the City of Salem,
of the City of Salem,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I
I, Conrad Prasnewski,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United
of
States,
the United States,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
Very good. I wasn't prepared to say anything, but I have. My heartfelt thanks to all my friends, my colleagues, my co-workers, and everybody that came here tonight. I know it's raining outside, and it's 150 degrees in here. I appreciate you sweating through this, but in all sincerity, I do thank you with my heart. I've put 38 years on the police department. I still want to continue to finish my career with being able to give back some of the work and, I guess, wisdom that I think I've learned over the years, and leave on a good note with that. So once again, you know, I'm kind of lost for words, which is unusual, but I'm overwhelmed at the showing that and the support from everybody here. So again, my deepest heartfelt thanks to all of you. Thank you.
to do one more thing. You have to sign the book to make it official.
Yep. Counselor Famico.
Yes, Council President Terry, I move for a 5-minute recess so that Captain Prasnewski may sign the book, and also he can take some photos with all of you here.
Awesome.
See no objections? So moved. 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
That was the motion. That was, I know, is my hair
Thank
getting
you,
bigger?
Council President. Motion to continue the public, for the regular meeting, and I'd like to move to the appointments and reappointments.
Well, first,
Agenda.
motion moved, so hearings, none. Appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Michael Jaros to serve as a member of the Bicycling Advisory Committee with a term to expire February 11, 2019.
Counselor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Counselor Famico moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, Mr. Jaros and his lovely wife live in Ward 2, right off of an entrance corridor. A few months ago, we were having a discussion about a major intersection in town, and Michael reached out to the council at that time about it, as he is a Salem State professor. You may have also seen one of his plays he wrote for the Arts Festival a couple years back. But the way Michael gets to and from work often is by bicycle. He'll be going down Lafayette Street pretty soon, where we're getting the protected bike lanes, but there's some other areas that we all know we need to work on some. Michael's eager to work on those, and also his wife used to be a member of our Public Arts Committee, so he knows how all the city government goes, and I'm lucky to have him have bought his first place within Ward 2, and to continue to give back to our community in this way.
Thank you. On Counselor Famico's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the appointment of Michael Jaros to the Bicycling Advisory Committee, 11 councilors present, 11 voting all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Jaros to address the council if he chooses to do so.
Seeing no objection, Mr. Jaros.
I don't have much to say besides what Heather said. She recommended me very highly and above my abilities to do so for myself. So I serve at your pleasure, and I'm looking forward to this appointment. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Michael Williamson to serve as a member of the Bicycling Advisory Committee with a term to expire February 11, 2019.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Famico moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, Mr. President. First off, I'd like to thank Mr. Williamson for his patience at our last council meeting. He stood out for about a good hour and a half, 2 hours before having to head out. So thank you for that. That dedication in and of itself shows how much he will give to our city in this role. Mr. Williamson also lives off an entrance corridor, actually just a little bit down the street from Mr. Jaros, who we just appointed. He has some children, although they're older now, and he claims that they won't bike with him. I think that they should. He also is looking into more pedestrian access and how can we work together not only with the Bicycling Advisory Committee, but Mass in Motion and other programs that the city has. He looks as though he has the research and he has the good connecting skills, so I look forward to having him serve in this capacity beyond just attending a meeting, now that he'll be a voting member as well.
Thank you. On Councilor Famico's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the appointment of Michael Williamson to the Bicycling Advisory Committee, 11 councilors present, 11 voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the rules to allow Mr. Williamson to address the council if he chooses to do so.
Seeing no objections, Mr. Williamson.
I'd like to thank Heather and the rest of the council and the mayor. I'm just looking forward to continuing the work you've already done with the bicycling in the city and getting at it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Roberta Clement to serve as a member of the Cemetery Commission with a term to expire February 11, 2019.
Counselor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to hold this under the rules.
Counselor Famico moves this be held on the rules. Held on the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
Held from the last meeting, the mayor's appointment of Meredith McDonald to serve as the City of Salem's Council on Aging Director with a term to expire January 31st, 2018.
Counselor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for approval by roll call vote.
Counselor Milo moves for approval by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We're really pleased to have Meredith on board. I had the pleasure of meeting her just the other day, and it was during an event down at the senior center, and it's clear to me that she's already off and running. She's got a lot of energy. I know she's got a lot of great ideas, and she's been well received by the seniors down at the center. So I'm really looking forward to working with her. I think she's a great addition to the city, and I recommend approval.
Thank you. Counselor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also strongly support this this appointment. I've had the pleasure of working with Meredith at 2 places now that I worked with her. She was the assistant fitness director at the Lynch Van Otterloo Y, and she was also the fitness director at the Salem Y. And I feel very fortunate that I've been able to work with her and see how she works with people of all ages and all abilities. And for someone to be the director of the Council on Aging, it's not just dealing directly with our seniors and with the clients, but it's also important to deal with issues with the family members and the community as a whole. And Meredith brings that to every position that she has held, and we're very fortunate to have her in this role.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the appointment of Meredith McDonald as Council of Aging Director, 11 councilors present, 11 voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Councilor Milo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to suspend the rules so that Ms. McDonald can address the council if she so chooses.
Seeing no objection. Ms. McDonald.
Thank you so much. I just want to say thank you very much for this amazing opportunity. I'm finishing up my 3rd week over at the Council on Aging, and it's been fabulous. Working with all of the seniors and getting to know them, the folks that come into the center, as well as those who receive our Meals on Wheels, as I've been fortunate enough to deliver those on several occasions as well. And I'm really looking forward to getting to know all of them a bit more and getting to know and work with all of you. But I'm really excited for this opportunity, so thank you very much. Thank you.
Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following Salem residents to serve as members of the Cable Television and Technology Commission with terms to expire on March 10, 2018. Arlie Diverstain, William Simons, Laura DeToma Swanson, Linda Vaughn, and Kevin Walker.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Famico moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of reappointments to the Cable Television and Technology Commission, 11 councilors present, 11 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Paul Duran to serve as a member of the Design Review Board with a term to expire March 10, 2019.
Councilor Famico.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Famico moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Just a little added tidbit that the Salem Redevelopment Authority did also recommend this reappointment at one of their meetings.
Seeing no further discussion, Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famiko?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the reappointment of Paul Duran to the Design Review Board, 11 councilors present, 11 councilors voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Jessica Herbert to serve as a member of the Historical Commission with a term to expire on March 10, 2019.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor McCarthy moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
No discussion. Jessica's served the Historic Commission for quite some time now. This is actually a reappointment, so she's not in attendance this evening unless I missed her when I didn't see her come in. So she does a fabulous job on the Historic Commission. I would wholeheartedly recommend for her reappointment.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to completely concur with my colleague from Ward 1. I just want to add that Ms. Herbert provides not only her expertise in terms of historic properties throughout this great city, but also provides class and practicality. And those are very welcome to have on our boards, and I enthusiastically support her.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley? Counselor Famiko?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the reappointment of Jessica Herbert to the Historical Commission, 11 councilors present, 11 voting, all in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of the following city department heads with the following terms to expire. Nina Bridgman, January 31st, 2018. Lisa Camarada, January 31st, 2018. Bonnie Selly, January 31st, 2018. John Doyle, January 31st, 2019. John Giardi, January 31st, 2018. Lynn Goonan Duncan, January 31st, 2018. David Knowlton, January 31st, 2018. Kathleen McMahon, January 31st, 2019. Thomas St. Pierre, January 31st, 2018. John Tomas, January 31st, 2018. And Kathleen Wynn, January 31st, 2018.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor McCarthy moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Briefly, some members are here. John Giardi, John Tomas, Lisa Camarada. And obviously, they're not required to be here for reappointment, but I want to recognize those that did show up for that. Over my last 8 years on the city council, actually coming up on 9, I've had the pleasure with working and getting to know every single one of these department heads to move items and matters through different departments with regards to constituents, services, and needs that have arisen over the years. And I want to say that without exception, every single one of them is exceptional and does their job and represents the city very well. So I wholeheartedly recommend their reappointments.
Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. I echo that. We are blessed to have each and every one of them serve the city of Salem. They are the personification of public service. In the private sector, they could earn more money easily. In the public sector, their challenge is much more and the pay is much less. But what we have is the best of Salem, and we see the best of Salem in each and every one of them. So thank you very much for serving. Thank you.
Councilor Famiko.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we all know, and many people at home know, the department heads often go above and beyond for us, but at the same time, they do deal with a lot of pushback sometimes and usually work towards getting a solution. When these reappointments were before us, there was one department head, and I'll say it's the Department of Planning, and there's been some discussion, and we've all probably seen it on social media, as returned to this fountain right outside here, right at the end. Just wanted to give everyone a little update on that Lynn Duncan, once again, following through with something she started. She has agreed to happily attend a meeting with us to give us an update on those repairs, when they'll start, when they'll end, and also that she'll coordinate with others in the different departments, which also includes DPW. We have that department head in front of us, It's also going to include us in that discussion, probably engineering some, John Giardi, and the electric department. So once again, that's highlighting that all of our department heads were working together on a solution for this. And we're really lucky to be able to have that happen in the city. But I just wanted folks at home to know that there is a solution towards that happening. And once again, it's a department head that's working towards that with other department heads.
Councilor Fury? Step around the wind vane here.
Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also want to say we have a good group of department heads here running things. I know a number of them are here. Our department heads are responsive. They do a very good job of trying to account for what the residents of the city need. They do a good job of responding to us. They generally do a very good job of responding to residents. Not everything we do in the city goes perfectly. Councilor Famico just referred to one thing that we had problems with, but overall we have a group of people who do a good job. They're professionals. They do a good job for the mayor. The mayor does a good job of owning up to the mistakes when they do happen. And this is a group that is good, solid, professional, and accountable. And I enthusiastically support all their reappointments, and we will, when we do have issues, we will discuss them with those heads, and they're all responsive, and they will come in here and talk about things. But I'm very happy that the mayor has a team of professionals that she can trust and has trust in, and we all do a good job of moving forward with it.
Thank you.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in support of all of the reappointments that are before us tonight. My only point it would be to one of the best times for this council and for the public to provide feedback is during the budget process. And so I would invite the public and invite my colleagues to attend our budget review process so we can ask those questions that the good Ward 2 councilor had suggested. That's a perfect time to do it in committee, and I would just reiterate thank you to all of our department heads for all of that you do, and your departments that work very hard for the citizens of Salem.
See no further discussion. Madam City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Epley?
Yes.
Counselor Famico?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Gerard?
Yes.
Counselor Lovely?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Milo?
Yes.
Counselor Ryan?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Terrio?
Yes. On the matter of the reappointment of department heads, 11 councilors present, 11 voting, all in the affirmative, none of the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Scott Sheehan to serve as a member of the City of Salem's Conservation Commission with a term to expire on March 10, 2019.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be held under the rules.
Councilor McCarthy moves to be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Antonio Matarakis to serve as a member of the City of Salem's Planning Board with a term to expire March 10, 2021.
Councilor Dibble.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that we hold it under the rules, but I'd also like to point out that this is the grandson-in-law of Councilor Joe O'Keefe, and I look forward to having him appear before the council. Thank you.
Councilor Dibble moves to be held under the rules. Held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Antonio O'Neill to serve as a constable with a term to expire on February 25th, 2017.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be received and placed on file.
Councilor McCarthy moves to be received and placed on file. So moved. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I further move, if there's no objection, to move to the page 10, Mayor's informational page.
Well, page 15. We're going to do that first.
We do page 15 first?
The petition.
Okay, we'll take that one out of
Yeah.
order. Move to page 15, petitions, the one at the top of the page, please, sir.
Any petitions?
We have a petition from Mark Lovely, Salem Wreaths Across America, on behalf of the Cushing Amusements to hold a carnival on June 2nd, 2016 to June 5th, 2016 at Salem Willows. The hours to be Thursday 6 to 10 p.m., Friday 6 to 10 p.m., Saturday noon to 10 p.m., and Sunday 1 to 6 p.m.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for approval.
Also let the record show that Councilor Lovely and Councilor Ryan are recused from this.
Yeah.
So Councilor McCarthy moves for approval. Under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Lovely is here with us. He's sitting behind me right now if anyone has any questions of him. Just for the record, Mr. Lovely, this is one of those unique situations where the event is occurring on public parkland, of which the Park and Rec Commission has approved the event, but by city ordinance, any carnival has to come in front of the council for final approval, even though that the Park and Rec Commission has approved the use of the land. For the record, I've had conversations with Mr. Lovely. I've talked to the police department, they have had initial discussions with Mr. Lovely, and pending approval, then we'll have final discussions with regards to the amount of police details that will be involved, police details that will patrol for traffic in and around the neighborhood. For the record, as I asked, I attended the Park and Rec meeting, and in that meeting, the carnival will not have a fence around it. They approved it for the location of which used to be the old softball field, which is now a soccer field. The intent is to try to move it as far away from the residents as possible, closer towards Dead Horse Beach. And people will be allowed to flow freely through it, so there'll be no inhibited access. There'll be no fence around the perimeter. It's one of those situations where they've got all the other approvals, but we have the ultimate say in this one. And there's a part of me that's cautiously optimistic. I've had conversations with a couple of the vendors down along the line that look at it as the week that it is early June. School isn't out yet. It's not one of their larger weekends. So the opportunity and the possibility of attracting more families to come down to the Willows and then maybe wander up the line and to partake of the amenities up there is welcomed cautiously. So for the first, they've never tried this before. I've heard the stories from in the day. They used to have circuses there, and they had all sorts of other things there. And there's part of me that wants to say no, but there's a big part of me that wants to say yes. So I will cautiously vote yes tonight, and hopefully it will all work out, and they will do everything they said they're going to do at Park and Rec. But it's one of those things that every year, if it ends up being an event that occurs every year, they will always have to come back in front of us. And if they do have issues, then we have the say to shut them down next year. I will say for the record that this is the same amusement company that runs the amusements of Devereaux Beach and Marblehead. And as one of my colleagues stated during the Park and Rec meeting, when she was a senior back in high school, the carnival actually benefits the senior the carnival that they use over Marblehead benefits the senior high school class of Marblehead High School for their event. It's for a great charity, Reach Across America. I did not have the opportunity this year to attend the event, but it's a wonderful event, and I would recommend approval, but with the cautious optimism that everything works out. It's not too overwhelming for the neighborhood, and that it becomes an event. But if it does become in such a way that it doesn't work out, then I'll just let the body know that this body does have the final say next year for any approval.
Hey, Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you, Mr. President. Quick question for either the Good Word 1 Councilor or Mr. Lovely. What's the plans for trash removal?
I would defer to waive the rules and allow Mr. Lovely to address. I know that they brought this matter up in front of Park and Rec, but I cannot recall.
So, seeing no objection, Mr. Lovely.
Hi, I'm Larry Cushing.
Sorry.
I'm Larry Cushing. I represent Cushing Amusements. And like you already told, my family's been working in Marblehead for the past 45 years, working with the senior class of Marblehead High School. And anytime we do an event, we make sure that when we leave, the place is spotless. We like to think that it's cleaner than what it was before we came in. Not to say that there's a mess down at the Willows, but we'll have a dumpster there that we'll provide, that will make sure all the trash is picked up on a nightly basis, and then when we finish the event, we'll make sure it's all picked up as well. You know, it makes a big deal to it. It's an important thing to us to make sure that we leave a place cleaner than what we went into.
Thank you. Councilor Fumiko.
Thank you, and good luck with the seagulls with the trash.
Well, let's put it this way. We go to Martha's Vineyard and we go to Marblehead. It's no different.
Perfect.
You know, it is what it is.
Thank you.
I just asked, you do the Ag Fair in
Yes, we do.
Vineyard? Okay.
Yes.
Been to it.
My family's been doing that for 45 years as well.
Thank you. Any other further, if no other questions? Oh, Councilor Gerard.
Thank you. I just want to speak in support of this, that Wreaths Across America was fantastic in bringing, I think this year was 2,000 wreaths, was that correct? 1,716. Over 1,700 wreaths to Green Lawn so that people could put them on veterans' graves. And that was a really, really powerful experience. And again, as my colleague pointed out, as the Marblehead High School class of 1993, we had the opportunity to work with Cushing Amusements, and it really is a fantastic carnival that they put on, and it's safe, it's clean, and it's wonderful for everyone. So I speak in strong support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just say Mr. Lovely does a wonderful job with with operating Wreaths Across America here. So my editorial comment. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move to take out of order, or go back in order to page 10, Mayor's informational page.
Seeing no objection, Mayor's informational page.
We have a request from the mayor to allow Footprint Power to give a project update.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this matter be received and placed on file, and at this time I move to waive the rules to allow the mayor and Mr. Silverstein to address the council relative to Footprint Power update. As some of my colleagues were here last night with regards to the discontinuance of a public way, I was at the Bentley School last night for a presentation similar to what we're going to see tonight that was presented to the neighbors. It was very well attended. There were a lot of great questions by the neighbors, and they voiced some concerns, and Mr. Silverstein did a wonderful job of answering all those questions. And I just want to say that about 6 years ago, we were talking about it after the meeting. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Silverstein, and I can honestly say that in the 6 years that I've got to know him through all these meetings and processes, he is a man of utmost integrity, and he has delivered on every single promise that he has made throughout the years, is getting the Footprint Power to the point that they are at right now. And I think he said it the best last night when he said to the people, I know we're not perfect, I know we make mistakes, and I know sometimes we're loud, sometimes we're noisy, sometimes we're dusty, but we will always strive to take care of the neighbors 100%, even though we know that sometimes we can't reach 100%. And I think that spoke volumes to the crowd last night that was there, is that their intent to try to hear complaints and move with the complaints and deal with the complaints as they occur. Obviously, if anyone who hasn't been down around the power plant lately, it's a major undertaking, and I just encourage anyone to go over to Winter Island and go up by the harbor master's office and look backwards at the power plant. The whole backside of the old power plant is off. You can see right through it. So I've said enough. I'll leave it to the mayor and Mr. Silverstein.
Thank you. Seeing no objections, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you. I'm going to just help kick things off with respect to the presentation that Scott Silverstein is here to make. And I want to echo some of the comments from Councilor McCarthy that we had a well-attended meeting last night at the Bentley School to go over both the project update and for the principals at Footprint to answer questions. And I don't know that we've had another power plant built in the city since 1950, but if we had, I can't imagine it going smoother. It's definitely noisy and dusty and disruptive at times, and we acknowledge that, and I think neighbors had a good expectation around what might happen there, but lots of good work going in to try and make sure that anything that can be done to limit those impacts is being done, and when things don't go swimmingly, that they're addressed immediately, and there are numbers. Peter Furness, Scott's partner, was at the meeting last night and said, if you email off the website, it actually comes to me on my phone directly, and you will get a response. And all of the staff from the power plant went, don't email him, because he will hunt us down to get an answer. But I think it speaks volumes that you have the principals of the company that are actually responding to the messages, and I believe they want to be as conscientious as possible when you're spending $1 billion putting up a plant. And that's a tribute to them, but that's also a tribute to our community, the way we rallied together on this project and recognize that it's got some disruption, but we're all working to try and address it as best we can. I just thought it would also be helpful to give the council a quick update while Scott's going to talk about the actual project and what's going on. Just a refresher for those of us who were here for the pilot and the CBA, and for the newer councilors who weren't. We're also kicking in with some of the additional financial incentives that are coming to the city beyond the nearly $100 million in tax revenue we'll get over the course of the next 18 years. There's also substantial contributions back to our community. Many of those funds are going to be applied on an annual basis, and they'll be kicking in, some of them next year, some of them the year after that. But as a quick reminder, in addition to the port, which obviously was something we're excited about, being able to operate and manage in shared cooperation with Footprint through the Port Authority, which allows us to have cruise ships. We've also heard from the Coast Guard, the Eagle is coming to Salem, the Coast Guard Eagle, a tall ship. We're working on dates for that, but there's just a lot of opportunities for us, obviously, to use that waterfront, and we'll have tremendous public access. That was a big part of last night's discussion. There's also things like over $1 million coming back for our schools directly as part of our community benefits agreement to pay for both the digital initiative and academic and enrichment programs. We've got a pavement management program that will contribute $750,000 to improve those roads around the plant. And there's a lot of activity going through those roads right now, so that only makes sense. When we add this with the National Grid revenue, we're also talking about, and the fact that National Grid will be repaving curb to curb any street that they are tearing up as part of the cable replacement project. It means there's a lot of activity in this area, but there's also going to be a lot of infrastructure upgrades in that area. There's $750,000 coming from Footprint to pay for that. We have a number of other Community Preservation Act funds coming in, and the best part about that, $750,000, is that it will be matched at the state level, go into our Community Preservation Fund to help with additional costs related to historic preservation and housing and park, rec, and open space. I could go on. Many of you know what those numbers look like, but this truly has been a partnership, and I think that is what I'm trying to bear out when I talk with you about the CBA. Working towards making the plant project as disruptive as possible goes hand in hand with the CBA that we negotiated in terms of making sure this has long-lasting community benefit. So excited to see this starting, and I think it's going to be one of those things we're going to look back on and remember, we're transforming not only the landscape, but an opportunity for our community to grow in a lot of different ways. With that, I'll introduce Scott, who needs no introduction, right, to go through the presentation. I'm going to stay for a portion of it, but I do have to leave, and I did have the pleasure of seeing it all last night. But if there's any questions while I'm here, I'll be happy to obviously answer them or catch up with folks post-meeting. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the council. Thank you, Councilor McCarthy and Mayor Driscoll, for your kind words. It's very much appreciated and very much reciprocated. As Councilor McCarthy mentioned, we've been working on this project for going on 6 years now, and we've gotten it to where it is today because of the great partnership we have with the city, with the mayor, with the council, and with all the city departments. I had planned on telling you what a great job the department heads do, but you guys have taken care of that already by enthusiastically reappointing them. But from the perspective of somebody who has to deal with those departments on a very complicated project, and as the mayor said, one that nobody who's involved today has been involved in before in the city, they and the folks in their departments and in the mayor's office do a remarkable job. They are proactive, they are not reactive. They are great about sitting down with both the folks at the plant and our contractors ahead of time to vet things out so that they're not just receiving applications cold in the first instance. They've already been through them several times in discussions to vet out any potential issues and go through them and make suggestions, and that is very much appreciated. They make life much easier because they ask good questions and they ask them very early in the process. And that makes it a lot easier to answer them and make sure that they have the information they need to do their jobs. So I enthusiastically echo the support that you guys already gave to your wonderful department heads. As I said to the residents that attended last night, we very much appreciate not only the support over the last 6 years, but particularly over the last year during construction. As the mayor said, it is dusty at times, it is noisy at times, there is more traffic than folks would like at certain times. But the residents of Salem, and particularly the residents in and around the plant, the Willows, Derby Street, Webb Street, have borne it with a grace and an understanding that is very much appreciated. As I told folks during public meetings as we were going through the permitting process, as Councilor McCarthy said, we are always going to strive for 100% in traffic and following rules and making sure that people are doing the right thing. The only thing I can guarantee is no matter how much we strive for it, over the course of 2 years of construction, we are not going to hit 100%. But what I can promise is we're 100% of the time, when somebody tells us there's a problem, we're going to find out what it was, get to the bottom of it, and do what we can to make sure it's not repeated and that it's fixed. No matter how many memos we put out, no matter how many times we tell truck drivers they're not supposed to go down this street or they are supposed to go down that street and not during this time, but yes, during that time, somebody will either not get the memo or decide that they're smarter than everybody else. And our job is to find out about it immediately, make sure that that person understands in no uncertain terms that they're wrong and they're not going to make that mistake again, because if they do, they won't be working on the project any longer. And we've tried to do that. The other thing we try to do is when somebody calls the information line, and for those watching at home, it's 978-740-8411. There's an answering voicemail on there 24 hours a day. You leave a message or email info@footprintsalemharbor.com. If you have a concern, you have a complaint, we'll get back to you within the 24 hours. We may not always have an answer within 24 hours. It may take some time to figure out what it is. There's a lot going on in Salem. Grid has gas work going on, they have electric work going on, Spectra was working, we're working. But we have a great relationship between all those entities that are working. The city was doing work at Blaney Street. So if a call comes into any of us, we're automatically on the phone to everybody else to figure out where's the problem, because it may not be our problem, but it's the resident's problem regardless of who's causing the issue. So we try to be proactive about that and get to the source and get it fixed for them. So we very much appreciate not only the city's patience and understanding and help, but the residents as well. Wanted to update you tonight on the status of remediation, demolition, and construction at the plant. Starting with remediation, as the council may recall, when we first bought the plant in August 2012, the first thing that we did was engage Tetra Tech, our licensed site professional, to conduct a comprehensive subsurface site investigation, which is much easier to do than it is to say 3 times fast. They drilled, I lost count when we got over about 350 borings. I know it's significantly more than that. Test pits, groundwater monitoring wells, and through all that they determined that there were 3 areas of concern on the site that were going to require remediation, removal of soil, and transportation and disposal off-site. I'm happy to report that the remediation on those 3 areas of concern is now complete. Through that process, we removed about 30,000 tons of contaminated soils, transported them off-site. They were taken to the turnkey landfill up in New Hampshire, and they've been properly disposed of. We brought in clean fill to the site, and that fill has been placed in all the excavations and compacted, so all of the areas of concern that we'd identified have been completed. In fact, just yesterday, we filed with the Department of Environmental Protection our release abatement measure completion report, letting the DEP know that those 3 areas of concern had been fully addressed by removing that soil. We do have another release abatement measure plan on file with the DEP, and that's to deal with any issues that are encountered during demolition and construction. So things we didn't know about from the investigation, but you run into as they're digging for foundations or digging for, cable runs. And in that process and during the demolition process, we did find some evidence of oil-impacted soils. You may recall there were 4 wastewater treatment tanks in the center of the property that prior to, I think, 1998 had actually been used for petroleum products, but hadn't been for more than 12, 15 years. Those tanks, no evidence that the integrity of the tanks were ever breached, but it does look like there were some leaks in and around the above-ground pipes in those areas. And as soon as we found a little bit, we went and chased it all over and ultimately removed 21,000 tons of soil. Oil-impacted soil is also taken to turnkey up in New Hampshire. That also has been backfilled with clean imported fill. And in the area, that's largely underneath the new plant. So it's not only been backfilled with clean fill, but there's 6 feet of clean fill on top of that as we've raised up the area of the new plant. So the headline on remediation is everything that we know of right now that needed to be addressed has been addressed. Until they're done digging in the ground, though, we won't be able to close out the site with the DEP because, well, knock wood, there's nothing else that we haven't, that we didn't know about. Until they're done digging in the ground, we won't be able to say that for sure. So once they're done, and it's probably, we're looking at June, they should be out of the ground completely, and then we'll be able to say we're definitively done and officially close the remediation. In terms of demolition, you guys have had a great view. You've seen that everything south of the Ford Avenue entrance has been removed. All 3 of the stacks have been completely demolished. All the asbestos abatement within the old structure has been completed and signed off by DEP. The turbine hall and boiler hall for Unit 4 have been taken down, and they're processing that steel. Some of you may have seen the short video of that, either on buildingsalem.com or maybe on Facebook or Twitter. It was about a 1.5-minute video of it coming down, but it was about a 1.5 months of engineering to make sure it was going to fall the right way. And happy to report that it did and came down without a hitch. As Councilor McCarthy mentioned, you can see through from Winter Island through to the control room of the old unit. That's because the administration building is gone where all the offices were. In fact, where the admin building was, there's now a barge at that part of the property, and we're loading steel on there to take off site. The fan building, which was behind the stacks before you got to the boiler house, that's also been demolished. Most of the turbine hall for units 1, 2, and 3 has been, all the siding has been taken off, all the brick, and they're taking the steel down. The roof will probably come down over the course of the next week, and then they'll just continue taking that steel to the ground before moving on to the boiler houses that are left, and the entire demolition of the old plant will be completed by the end of this year. So just in case anybody forgot what it used to look like, recall that we shut down in May 2014. This is June 2014. We'd already removed 1, 2, 3.5 tanks. This area here where the wastewater treatment tanks are, that's the area where I mentioned where there were some oily soils. One of the area concerns was up here, one was right here, and one's actually just off the screen over here, but those are all taken care of now. Everything from here to the south is gone. These stacks are gone. This building's gone, and this building is gone. This is what it looked like in August 2014 as we were getting ready to start on that stack. As I said last night, don't adjust your sets. Stack 5 did not actually lean like that. It's just a fisheye lens at the end of the jetty that's taking that picture. It probably would have been easier to take down if it leaned like that in the first place. And that's what it looked like a couple of days ago. You can see the new plant rising here on the left side of the screen. On the right side of the screen, the admin building is completely gone. This is the unit 1 through 3 turbine hall. You see all the siding is off there. And this is boiler house for unit 1, 2, and then 3 is kind of in the corner there. 4 is completely gone over on that side. People have asked over the course of the last year, how do you take down those stacks? The answer is very carefully. This machine called a Mantis sat up on top of each of the stacks, had these steel wheels that rolled around the stack and then articulating jackhammer that came out over the side, jackhammered out a 5-foot by 5-foot section. Then the guys would come in and cut the rebar with torches and push that 5-foot by 5-foot section into the chimney and then clean it out at the bottom each night. And this is a very large crane lifting it onto the shortest stack, the 250-foot stack that was there. So we're happy to report all 3 of those are down and down safely. In terms of demolition, one of the goals, we talked a lot about the plant being cleaner with fewer emissions than anything around, and certainly than the old plant. But the demolition is an important part of the story environmentally as well. So far, we've sent 38 tons of waste to landfills related to the demolition. We have sent we've had 84,000 tons recycled. That's a 99.95% recycling rate. The majority of that recycling has been masonry, the brick and block that made up the outside of the old building. That's being crushed up and used for fill on site. It's being used to fill in the large voids in the foundation where we had the water intakes, and other areas where the licensed site professional tells us it's appropriate for fill. The DEP did grant us a beneficial use determination that allows us to use that fill on site. The other big chunk, obviously, is the steel that's going down to Everett to be recycled there. And all of that recycling amounts to avoiding 600,000 tons of CO2 emissions, which is the equivalent of taking 33,000 cars off the road or powering 22,000 Salem homes for a year. Construction update. Some of you were at the groundbreaking and probably saw forms like this with a whole lot of rebar getting ready for quite a bit of cement. Under all of that, there were 2,450 piles that had to be driven, and I know our neighbors were happy to hear last night that that work is complete. All the piles have been driven. It's 118,000 linear feet of piles put end to end. They stretch over 22 miles, which means if you left here and went over to Route 1 to head down to Boston, you'd be traveling the same distance as the length of piles that we drove. We're going to have about 22,000 cubic yards of concrete. That's enough to cover a football field with 10.5 feet of concrete. It's a lot of concrete, and we know it was a lot of concrete trucks because you can't, no other way to transport the concrete. The good news is that all of those big pours are done. There are still some small foundations left to be done, but very small buildings, you know, the kind of concrete foundation pours that you would have on a normal project or a normal home foundation. All of the big ones are done. And the stack concrete pour is complete. The new stack that you see there will have two metal flues inside, but the concrete's at its final height. This is a picture of one of the gas turbines being unloaded. This gas turbine and one just like it were built in Greenville, South Carolina by GE, transported during those terrible rains that they had, or just after those terrible rains that they had in South Carolina last fall, to the Port of Charleston and put on an ocean-going vessel and brought up here, lifted off the ship by crane. If that crane looks familiar to you, it's because that week's crane is the same one that's used to lift the space shuttle when it needed to be lifted. Many of you may have seen the pictures of them putting one of the old shuttles on the USS Intrepid in New York Harbor. That's the crane that was parked next to the Intrepid to lift it. That's how heavy these things are. Both gas turbines, if you recall, the plant has two gas turbines, each one with its own generator, two steam turbines, each with its own generator. Both of those gas turbines were delivered successfully to the site. They're on their pedestals where they will be put in service. Same thing with their generators. The steam turbines are on the ocean now and en route, and will be here later this month with their generators. All the structural steel, I shouldn't say all, but the vast majority of the structural steel for the buildings is up. On this side you have gas turbine 5. Over here is gas turbine 6. That little white dot there is that same giant gas turbine that we just saw in the last picture, just to give you some perspective for how big the site is. This building here is the steam turbine building, and you see the steel up there. This yellow piece of steel is an overhead crane that'll be used to lift those steam turbines in place onto their pedestals. The only major buildings that aren't framed yet, these large pieces here are called heat recovery steam generators. That's where the exhaust from the gas turbine goes to heat up water into steam to then turn this steam turbine. That's how we get the high efficiency out of the plant, because we're using the same fuel to essentially fuel two turbines. They still have quite a bit of work to do on the outside, connecting these steam turbines together. There are some steel drums, the steam drums that have gone up over the last week or so on top. Once that's all complete, then they'll surround it in the steel building. But in terms of height, pretty much what you see is what you get. That building will be slightly higher than the equipment to give it some clearance, but other than that, the massing and the height of the buildings is really what you have at this point. Spectra has completed the installation of the pipeline from Beverly Harbor. I know there was a lot of discussion about that getting done. It got done on time, and the only work left to be done on Spectra's part is they need to build the meter station on our site. The pipe is there, it's filled with gas. Our pipes aren't ready to link up to it yet, so later this year, once our side of the piping is ready, they'll build the meter station and connect the two, but that happens entirely on our site. They're done with everything out in the community. The air-cooled condensers have also had their steel erected. That's these things out here. You see steel supports. There'll be fans that go up on top here and ductwork, and that's where the steam gets cooled down again back into water to go back through the process again. So those supports are up there, and we already talked about the Hersigs. The only real update, the only real tweaks in design as we've gotten through the final phases of design into construction have been related to the administration building, and they're largely to reduce the size and scope of the administration building. That's a small building that's inside the berm. It was actually originally quite large right here, just to orient folks. This is what the planning board had approved, had a large warehouse, about 8,000 square feet, had a large warehouse, several offices, a big reception area, and what we've done now is tried to scale that back. So we've eliminated the warehouse entirely. We'll use other warehouse space, either on-site or there are a couple of different warehouses in the city that are not being used, that we may look for off-site storage for items that don't need to be used every day, and that can be accessed by a pickup truck going to pick up a pump or a motor on occasion when it's needed. But that'll allow us to reduce the scope of this building. This is the new building that we're looking at doing. Fewer offices and no warehouse. That building is about 2,900 square feet versus the 8,000 square feet that we had before. The other big change is it was about 98 feet of frontage along Derby Street, really kind of at the intersection of Derby and Ford Avenue up here. Here it's reduced to about 65 feet. So much less, be looking at much less from the neighborhood. It is built kind of integrated with the berm around it. So the whole idea was it was going to be hidden except for those front windows all the time. The other thing we were able to do was by eliminating the warehouse, which was taller than the rest of the building, we were able to make it one level roof. And you can see that on the next slide. This is the approved cross section. You see the warehouse was taller there. There were going to be some clerestory windows here in the opening. Those windows are now eliminated because it's going to be a single level roof. And you can see here, no real change. The one thing you do notice is the roof is now flat, and that is because we've added solar panels on the roof. Some of you may recall we committed to both the Planning Board and the Energy Facility Siting Board that we would design and build an admin building that would satisfy the requirements for LEED Platinum status. One of those requirements is that you have on-site renewable energy. And as the council may recall, we don't have enough room on the steam turbine roof that's not being taken up by other equipment to put solar panels, so we're going to put some panels up on top of the admin building roof. It'll be a very small installation, but enough to meet the LEED requirements. This is what was approved by the planning board, and again, the only real change is to move the vegetation off to the side where the warehouse would have been, put these in, and then what we've added, back here, is we've just extended the wall slightly to form a parapet here so that from the neighborhood you won't be able to see the solar panels. It'll just look like the wall that they were always intended to see. But the panels will be there and we'll be able to generate electricity without having a view from the neighborhood. So we've added some trees on this side. The only changes in the berm really are to add more berm on this side. The building is moved about 4 feet away from the neighborhood, so the shape and slope of the berm changes slightly to accommodate, but really just to accommodate and fit in the smaller building. The other thing that we were asked to do, and Councilor Gerard may remember more of this than she'd care to, is come back with a lighting plan for how we were going to light the stack and come up with an icon. The challenge was to come up with what the planning board called an iconic lighting scheme, but to do so in a way that wouldn't overwhelm the neighborhood. We wanted to highlight what was there, but without drowning out the neighborhood in light. And what we've come up with is the ornamental notch, which you can already see in the stack that's cut out at the top, will actually continue down. There'll be some metal strips along the side, on the outside of the stack, to delineate this notch going all the way down. And what we're going to do is take 4-foot LED light strips, and it's about 78 feet from the bottom of that cutout to the top of the building, and we'll put those 4-foot strips on either side. Those 4-foot strips take up about 69 watts, and they run on two 15-amp circuits, so virtually no electricity usage. We can make them red, green, blue, orange. Each one of those panel sections of LED puts out less light than a 4-foot fluorescent bulb. And those will be angled into the stack. There'll be fascia along the outside to keep the light from leaking out into the neighborhood. And that's what it's going to look like. It's just meant to highlight that architectural feature without overpowering the neighborhood. And that's white. It's a little small here, but you can see we can do red, orange at Halloween, magenta, green, red, white, and blue for 4th of July, and blue we can do anything we want. We can turn down the intensity of the light as well when we go to colors. The other last piece is the cladding. In front of Councilor Fury is a sample of the louvers that will be on the building. We had a much larger sample last night, which is right here, of the louvers overlapping. These are what they'll look like up at the top of most of the sections of the building, where they'll be open. As you move further down the building to the lower levels, those will actually be closed off and overlap to mimic clapboard siding. This is an extruded aluminum product. That is the color, the white, signal white color that we're going to have to match all the planning board presentations. The building behind those louvers will be clad in galvanized steel. And that's just a section of what the corner will look like. And given the large crowd that you had earlier, I'm glad we decided not to bring the larger example of the louvers. And I'm sure you are too. And again, that's what we're aiming for, and you can start to see that vision taking shape out there in the steel. From my perspective, very happy to see things going down on the north side of the property and up on the south side of the property, and appreciate your indulgence this evening and your support and the support of the city throughout the process. And with your permission, Mr. President, I'm happy to try to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Once again, Scott, thank you so much for your presentation. Just a few highlights from last night, because the neighbors, a couple things that came out. Obviously, the big question is the remaining acreage that's left. For anyone on the council that hasn't seen it, there's a report. It's on file with the planning department. It's the Sasaki report. It really goes into depth. The city's going to be looking to hire another consultant to try to figure out, as they move everything into this building and they tear down their site where they are staging right now, as to what's the next phase. It's 40 acres there approximately that we're going to be looking to work with. And anyone wants a preliminary look, it's in the Sasaki report. And there were some questions relative to, as you see, that fence is going to come down with regards to some of their security needs. They don't need that fence anymore. It's to allow more public access. And one thing that Scott failed to mention, and I'm going to give him credit for, is the fact that when they moved the solar panels off the main building to the Advent building, to meet their requirement on the rest of them, they're going to be looking at city buildings to supplement their requirement for the amount of solar power that they were supposed to generate on site as per their agreement. So they're going to be looking to a bunch of city buildings, schools, whatnot, to install solar panels to meet that requirement. So kudos to you guys for doing that as well. So I'll leave it to anybody else that has any questions. I just want to highlight those points as we move forward. And could you say it one more time? How many miles of concrete piles are piled down there?
118,000 feet. 118,000
118,000 feet.
If I was going to say if I did the math correctly, if Google did the math correctly,
Google did the math.
because that's where I did the conversion, that equates to 22.3 miles. And when I Googled Salem to Boston, because normally I had to take 1A, but if you take the Route 1 route, it is 22.2 miles. So you could lay them end to end, and it probably wouldn't do much more to traffic than you already have.
And there were lots of pounding that goes on, and I want to recognize, if I can, Kevin Canacho, who's sitting over there, is a longtime employee at the power plant who's carried over to this phase of it. And Kevin, I have Kevin on speed dial. And I'd get calls and like, how much longer is this pounding going to go on? And I'd call Kevin and he'd go, there's only 800 more piles to go. I'm like, how many? And it would be 800. How long is it? It'll take like another 2 months. And but Kevin was great, and they did work through it, and they tried to get through all that stuff. And it has, the neighbors did have a lot of concerns, and and they're rightly so with regards to what's going on down there. And I will echo what was said before, that I mean, it's not been perfect. We all admit that, but they have, you guys have been very responsive as to try to address some of those issues that have come up. And one that was alluded to, and I'll just briefly touch on this, for the longest time, the neighbors were complaining about this whistling noise or this humming noise, and it sounded like someone was blowing over a bottle. And I would exchange emails with Kevin, the harbor master, SESD, the power, everyone trying to figure out what it was. And it was one night that it happened, and I happened to see it, and I hit it, and I sent it to the harbor master, and he called me back and says, Bob, I was heading home, I'm going to go down there, I'm going to find this thing. And he happened to be wandering around, and it turned out being the marina. There was an older sailboat that they took the furl sailing out of the mast, and it was positioned in such a way that at certain windstorms, out of a certain direction, it sounded like someone was blowing over the top of a bottle, and as the wind increased, it got louder. It was obnoxious. And everyone was like, we were all like looking at each other trying to figure it out. And anyway, I give credits to Bill McHugh for going down there, and he walked into and he found the boat, put his hand on the hull, and it was the intensity of the winds in the wintertime were making the hull vibrate. And so Noah over at the boatyard, they moved the boat and repositioned it in such a way that every once in a while it still does it, but it's diminished greatly. So that's just some of the issues that we're dealing with. And it was funny when he brought it up. I was like, yep, I remember that one.
I'm glad to hear that. We did get, as Councilor said, Kevin is on his speed dial. Sometimes he couldn't hear him over the pounding, but we did get several of those calls. What's going on? What's this noise? And everybody, to get on the site, you've got to badge in. So it was easy. We went to the security logs and we said, okay, well, who was here last night? Well, the security guard was here, and that was it. And the security guard, can't whistle that loud, and they're in the guard shack anyways, and we couldn't figure it out. And when we would tell the person who called, they would say, well, what are you hiding? What, you got to be doing something down there. And we said, no, really, there was nobody on site last night. So I'm glad to hear that the harbor master was able to find the source of that, because it had us scratching our heads. There are a lot of things that we, take some time, but we're ultimately able to track it down. That one eluded us, so I'm glad that somebody finally found it.
Councilor Ryan just gave me a look. Was that your boat, Josh? Nope, not mine. Councilor Ryan.
Through you, I just wanted to thank you for investing in Salem. I think it's great thinking about, like, before you came, what was going to happen with the power plant in the city. It was one of our biggest, still one of our biggest taxpayers. I just want to thank you for investing. But one thing, I just had a question. What do they do with the fill that you send off? How do they get rid of it?
It goes to a facility that's licensed to take it. So the landfill up in New Hampshire, most of the fill is the lowest classification, or I guess looked at another way, the best classification of stuff that has to go off-site. It's very low levels of contamination. It's just over the regulatory limits, and that's used for what's called daily cover, really to kind of cap the landfill of the other stuff that's there. And then there's a small amount that has to go to a separate section of the landfill because it has a higher component of different chemicals of concern. But they're licensed by the EPA to take that stuff, and there's various facilities around the area and around the country that's their business, taking things and storing them properly in EPA approved sites.
I was just curious. I'm like, does it go up and they just area don't go to? Like, to build a mountain and say, don't go to that mountain?
I don't know how they deal with it at the end. What I know is they have all the right
It's
licenses and
audio.
approvals and paperwork, and that they've been paid and it's done. So
But once again, I just want to thank you for investing in the city of Salem, and everything's gone great. It looks, with Council McCarthy's been from day one on this, and it couldn't have gone more smoothly. I mean, there's obviously going to be issues,
Thank you.
but for the most part, the size of the project and how much money, it's like almost building a casino. I mean, the amount of money that you're putting into that.
thank you. Thank you. It's a complicated project. There are a lot of moving parts that, at one point we had demo, remediation, and construction all going on at the same time. Iberdrola Energy Projects, our contractor on the project, is doing everything they can to meet a very tight deadline to get it up and running by next May 31st. And I know they've been to the council before to ask permission to work outside normal hours, and I wanted to thank you for allowing that. That's allowed them to meet our needs to get things done. I know they'll be back again. I know there are some things coming up. In fact, I was talking to one of them today. There are a couple of things where they have, the large HRSGs that I was talking about, they're putting the steel drums on top. There are pipe racks that need to be welded to that to take the pipes that'll take the steam through. They can't do that while they've got guys working 100 feet in the air on the steam. So they're going to have small crews, I think it's like 15 people, that are going to need to work later in the day because they can't both work on the same equipment. They're going to be back here and asking for permission to do things like that and take elements where they have to have two crews on the same piece of equipment, but they can't both be doing it at the same time, and see about shifting things around. And there are going to be things like that over the course of the next year that are going to come up, and I appreciate the council's trust in them to get things right, and us to make sure that if they don't, that they will only mess up once and we'll get it done right. So we appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Those were very long planning board meetings.
They were, and somehow you typed up every single thing I said.
Every single thing. And, but something that was always a theme throughout all of those meetings was that you and Peter came and said, this is what we want to do. And the planning board said, okay, well, this is how we're going to allow you to do it. And you said, okay, well, let's work with this. And this was just a fantastic partnership. And even when residents had concerns that your team, again, there was that one meeting at Bentley where people had concerns about noise from the plant, and then someone brought in a microphone and showing the different
noise
ambient
meter, yeah.
levels and everything, and it was just fantastic. And I'm so happy to see it at this point, and I can't wait to see it when it's all done. As soon as I saw the Louvre, I was like, I know what that is. I know exactly what that is. And and I echo my colleagues' sentiments that thank you again for coming and investing in us, and we hope that you stay forever.
Thank you very much. One of these times I'm going to make good on my threat and make either you or Councilor McCarthy actually give the presentation, because you guys have heard it more than anybody. So I'm sure both of you could do a better job than I could.
You can give it, you can. Any other councilors? Councilor Fury.
Kevin Caracciolo's father, Pep Caracciolo, who many of us consider Mr. Salem, the face of the old power plant that gave a labor of love for many, many years through Salem. And now we have the second generation. And you made Salem such a part of your plant. You're part of Salem. And Kevin is the epitome, the essence of Salem, the best of Salem, his family. And what you did for Salem is amazing. So thank you very much, Scott.
Well, thank you. And we've been very lucky, and I've said it at virtually every meeting I've been to. I've been remiss in not saying it tonight. We were very, very lucky in August 2012 to inherit 106 people, men and women who came in every day and really gave that Salem family their all. And that's what they were. They had been together for, in many cases, 20, 25 plus years. In most cases, actually. There were very few people that weren't there at least 22 years when we came on. And Kevin and Lou, who are here tonight, are just two of the people who were a big part of that. And we're very lucky to have been able to keep about a dozen of the folks that were at the plant and moved now into a construction and oversight role. And it's important to have that institutional memory, not only of the plant and knowing literally where everything is, both in the building as it's coming down and under it, but to have the institutional memory and the knowledge of the city and the people. And like you said, you know, having Councilor McCarthy know that he can get Kevin anytime, day or night, even though both of their wives would probably wish that they didn't, is invaluable. And having that kind of relationship where people know the name and know the face and know that they can trust them is invaluable. And we've certainly recognized that, keeping the folks who were there on, and we're just really fortunate to have all of them. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate that you recognize it as well.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President, through you. Scott, aside from the obvious big ticket items with tax revenue that comes in, the community benefit agreement, all of it has been fantastic and great for the city. But to me, what's great about your team is the thoroughness, the crossing of the T's and the dotting of I's. And what I mean by that is when you're dealing with the fine points, you address them, and you address them well. Whether it's the LEED certification, you don't have to do that, but you're doing it. The 99.5% recycling of all of the building materials, you don't have to do that, but you're doing it. And the really cool light that's in the middle of the stacks, you don't have to do that, but you're doing it. And you're doing it with, what'd you say, 65 watts or something like that?
I think each each light is 69 watts.
So a light bulb worth in a lamp of power is being used that will be able to be seen out into the harbor and throughout the city. That's cool. That's awesome. So I just want to say that, I mean, we have a lot of great projects that come to Salem, some not so great projects that come to Salem, but your team is an example of doing the right thing and crossing the T's and the dotting the I's, and I appreciate that, and I know Salem does.
Thank you very much, Councilor. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for coming in to speak with us and sharing that update. Just look, Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm sorry, I forgot to ask one question. How many solar panels?
I don't recall how many are on that. It's 22,000 watts. For some reason, the number 75 sticks in my head, but I'm not positive. I can check on that and get back with you.
As someone with 19 on her house, I'm pretty impressed when I saw that.
But it's much less than what we need to do, which is why Councilor McCarthy mentioned that we're working with the city to find spots on city buildings to make up the difference. So, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you for coming. We're looking forward to this. Councilor Dibble wants to...
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Through you, I just want to echo some of the comments of my fellow councilors. Welcome to Salem. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your investment. And thank you and congratulations for making it this far without a whole lot of headaches throughout the whole city. I'm one of the proud, my wife and I are one of the proud families, one of the first families in Salem to have solar panels on a roof, and we have 28, by the way. So 75 concerns me a little bit, but is that the minimum that you can do on there, or is there room to do more, can I ask?
Let's go back to the slide, and don't hold me to the 75 because that number sticks in my head, but I just don't recall. It's really every square inch. This is a courtyard here that allows some windows on the inside into the building. So if you look back at the, so this is courtyard, and this is the gray area is the building. So when you, Councilor Milo, I'm sorry, I'm too short to get over your head, so I keep hitting you with the laser pointer. I apologize. If I were taller, I wouldn't have that problem. So as you can see, they've really targeted kind of every inch of available space up there. And they're still working. This is the conceptual plan. We've got to bid the project out, and then we'll have to meet with the solar installers and make sure, as you know from having it on your house, there are some areas that can't take it. You've got to have some equipment up there. So this is still conceptual, so don't hold me to the number of panels. But the goal is to put as many up there as we can.
Great. And through you, Mr. President, just curious, is there any, I happen to like the look of solar panels, especially on a power plant. It makes sense. Is there any additional room for the solar panels on the property itself, on the berm or somewhere else?
We've looked. You know, the problem with the berm is the commitment. Well, I shouldn't say problem because it's not a problem. I think it's a very good thing that we've made commitments in the Chapter 91 process and in the planning board process to having open space for the community and walking paths and things like that, so obviously we wouldn't want to get in the way of any of that. The Chapter 91 designation makes it a little complicated to do anything. I don't know with all the vegetation that we have that ground mounted would work on the berm. We've looked at the buildings themselves, and the problem with the buildings is the amount of equipment that's actually on top of the buildings. You really can't see it because the louvers actually continue up slightly past the roof line, and they're open, but there is actually equipment up on top of the building, so it really takes up the available area on top for panels. So we haven't found anywhere else on site to be able to get any kind of solar of size, but we're always looking. And that's not to say, we're talking about 23 acres out of 65 here. As Councilor McCarthy mentioned, I know it came up last night, and that's not what we're talking about tonight because it's something for the future. There'll be development on the rest of the site, and obviously we'll be looking for ways to minimize energy usage and maximize the environmental friendliness of the rest of the
Mr.
site.
President, I like the comments that you're still looking for other ways. My oldest son attended Mass Maritime Academy. They had solar panels on top of the street lights and a windmill and all sorts of other things as well. So keep thinking that way. It's wonderful, especially at the power plant, like I said. Could you just talk very briefly a little bit more about the Salem School solar panel component? What schools are you looking at? And I thank you.
Yeah, we've been working with the city for quite some time, and I know that the mayor and her team are meeting to figure out which schools' roofs and which municipal buildings' roofs can accommodate them. There are two issues with rooftop solar, as you probably know from your own home. One is the condition of the roof. Where is it in its life cycle? Two is what's the structural load that the roof can take. So what the city's found in some instances is the roof's in fine condition, but because of the weight of the roof itself, it can't take the additional weight of the solar panels. So we're working with the city now to find the right mix of roof or roofs to meet the requirements that we have, and to find structures that have both the right lifespan left on the roofs and also the physical capacity to withstand the weight load of the additional panels. Because, of course, in Salem, you can't just account for the weight of the roof and the weight of the panels. You have to account for snow load as well. And when you add that in, that makes a big difference. So you could have a roof that is well below its rated capacity, but when you add the expected snow load and then put the panels on top, it gets tough. So I don't know that there are any that we're not looking at this point. It's just a matter of canvassing all the available roofs and finding the right one or ones to make it work.
Mr. President? Thank you.
Briefly, Councilor.
Yep. Again, just to reiterate, do you have a range of panels that you're trying to accomplish at the schools, a total?
The total, it's not measured in number of panels, it's measured in kilowatt hours a year of electricity, and the goal is to be able to produce 450,000 kilowatts a year, kilowatt hours of electricity. And that translates into about slightly over 400 kilowatts installed of panels. So if you think about it, the panels that we're looking at on our roof, that's 22 kilowatts. That's just a fraction of what we need overall. So it's a fairly sizable roof that we need.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you again for coming and presenting this to us. Great to see this coming along. I'm really looking forward to next approximately May when we're putting power on the grid.
You and me both, Mr. President.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we return to the regular portion of the meeting, which was, I believe, is 2 pages prior, page 8.
Page 8. Okay. McCarthy moves we return to the regular page 8. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order for an appropriation of $10,379.62 from Retirement Stabilization Vacation Sick Leave Buyback Account for the retirement of Nancy Tracy and Jeanette Martineau.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Epley move for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Epley, motion for adoption under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, these are two vacation sick leave buybacks for two individuals, one from our library department and another from our school department, who are retiring. As always, we thank them very much for their service to the city of Salem, and we wish them well, and we move for adoption.
Councilor Epley's motion for adoption. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communication from the mayor.
We have an order for a transfer of $2,000 from the Planning Fringe Stipend account to the Planning Board Fringe Stipend account.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
On Councilor Epley's motion for adoption, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Andrew Shapiro is one of our planning department employees. He just completed a particular certification. The monies that are being transferred here were for a former employee of the planning department. This is a standard procedure that we have done for various certifications of planning department employees, and so I would move for adoption.
Councilor Epley's motion for adoption. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communication from the mayor.
We have a resolution calling for the full funding of the Foundation Budget Review Commission's recommendations.
Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
Councilor Epley moves this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. This has been referred to us by the mayor and specifically by the school committee as well. This is something that I'm sure that we will support, but I just want to have a chance for anyone who has questions among the councilors that they ask the questions at that time during committee process, and that hopefully we turn it back past as submitted.
Thank you. On Councilor Epley's motion, this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order for parking recommendations for Dodge Street Court, Washington Street, and Dodge Street for the mixed-use development project at Dodge and Washington Street for roadway alterations and parking, and that the solicitor shall prepare the traffic ordinance amendments for adoption by the city council.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption.
Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption, under discussion.
Mr. President. I mean, obviously, I understand the necessity for this and the recommendations that will come back to the License Order Legal Affairs Committee, but at the same time, I would hope that they'd be working with the ward councilor as to what these recommendations are. I mean, I understand that the need to have them drafted properly, but I will leave it to the good Ward 5 councilor and his dealings with the city solicitor and Lieutenant Brzezinski to make sure that these are done appropriately and rightly before they appear back before us. Does this matter want to be adopted or want to be referred to committee? Do you just want to refer that to committee?
This is for adoption.
Adoption, okay.
Wait. All these recommendations adopted?
Councilor Fury?
Recommendations.
Councilor Choyo.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is an order, not a ordinance, just to let everybody know. This is a preliminary order in order to start putting some of the restrictions and changes that we had previously approved as part of the transfer of property for this project being built and as part of the planning process to get the planning board approval on it. So this is an order initially putting into place the restrictions and changes that are going to be necessary for the construction project, which, as you may have all noticed, has begun with utility relocation. And in approximately 2 weeks, they're going to begin removing the former National Grid cable that's underneath there as well. As part of this, we've already sold the property, and so these are part of the actions that are necessary in order to move around spaces and to support this construction project. Once they're into the construction process and have okayed the site, these will finally come through in ordinance form. But for now, this is an order in order to enable the project construction to get underway.
Don't go away.
Okay.
While you're up and you can speak, I just want to, have you got any information on how long the lane is going to be closed along there? The right turn lane coming off Mill Hill?
I do not have a call on that. That is being done. That is not for the construction. That's for the utility relocation.
That is.
So that's undergoing. That's in progress now, and that's all utility work that's taking place. I'm going to say probably, and I can't say definitively, but this will probably be in place, I'm thinking, until at least sometime in April, because that's when they will have completed the removal of national grid cables that are under there, and that's the biggest single factor that's awaiting us. That has nothing to do with this order. That's the restrictions that were put into place to enable this, this removal and relocation.
All right, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just got a lot of questions on that, and they probably, I was wondering if they could come out any further, but I think the tunnel's there, so they probably can't come out any further, because they would be digging up the side of the tunnel.
Yeah, that would end badly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping on top of it.
On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Here's information page. We've already done that. Motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Dibble.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have an ordinance. In the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited unmetered zones is hereby amended by adding the following. Loring Avenue, southeasterly side beginning at a point of 40 feet north of College Drive and continuing to the intersection of Linden Street and the marked crosswalk, excluding existing marked bus stops and handicap zones. 15-minute parking only tow zone, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., or by special permit only issued by the Horseman Laboratory School. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter.
Councilor Dibble's, and you move for adoption for first passage?
Yes, I move for adoption of first passage.
On Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for first passage, under discussion.
Yes, thank you. This is part of the 60-day trial parking adjustments that the council approved 2 months ago, and I'd like to thank you all for making those changes. The Horseman School, the parents, the staff, and the principal himself, they've expressed their pleasure of having parking for the first time in years and years, and they said, please, make it happen. We've modified it very slightly, whereas it's 15-minute parking. We've kind of worked with them. They've developed a placard program, an orange placard, so if you happen to go to the Horseman School, go in, check in with the secretary, she'll give you an orange placard, place it on your dashboard, and then go back into school, and you can spend an hour or two there volunteering at the school. Previous to this, volunteers would have to park so far away, they didn't want to come back to work to volunteer at the school. So it's making it easier for parents and volunteers to come and be active in our community school. It's working, and I encourage us to approve it tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. On Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, resolutions. Councilor Dibble.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Another ordinance. In the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited unmetered zones is hereby amended by adding the following. Lafayette Street, westerly side, beginning at a point 20 feet south of Loring Avenue and continuing in a southerly direction to the southeast property line of number 410 Lafayette Street, for a total distance as marked by the signs. 1 hour parking, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday. Parking time limited. All currently marked bus stops, handicap zone, and service zones in this section remain as marked. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter. I move for adoption of first passage.
Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for first passage, under discussion.
Yes, thank you. This is also part of the 60-day trial that we've approved previously. It basically extends from the intersection of West Ave, Lafayette, and Loring Avenue, only along the university side of Lafayette Street towards Marblehead, and ending at the last of the college-owned properties at 410, and including 410 Lafayette Street. Whereas it was previously a 2-hour or all-day parking, depending on where you were. We made it 60-minute parking, and it seemed like it just wasn't enough time. The Salem Police Department and the Salem State College Police Department and several businesses that I've met with, everybody seems to agree that the parking changes are working. We've directed the students into the new parking garage. That's worked out well, but we've driven a few of the cars further down Lafayette Street, and I'll speak about that in a minute. but it's working, but basically everybody's asked, it's not quite enough time to run in and pay your bill and pick up your grades or run over and get a slice of pizza, so we've compromised and made it 1 hour. And that is the full support of the Salem Police Department and many, many others. And I encourage you all for your consideration and for passage tonight.
On Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Dibble.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. We have an ordinance. In the year 2016, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 75. Parking prohibitions, towing zones, residence sticker is hereby amended by adding the following. Lafayette Street, Zone B, color red, westerly side, starting at a point of 20 feet north of Raymond Avenue and continuing in a northerly direction for 410 feet to the southeast property line of number 410 Lafayette Street. Resident sticker parking only, tow zone, Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. I move for adoption of first passage.
Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for first passage under discussion.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. This is a result of the 60-day trial. We wound up pushing some of the students and professors and other people who happen to park in the area a little bit further down Lafayette Street, where many were already parking, but we added even more parking in front of some of the neighbors' houses there. I just want to point out that there are no businesses in that area. It's all resident parking, and this will free up some of the neighbors who were directly impacted by the large garage and the amount of lights and other things in traffic, and will help that little bit of a neighborhood where basically the students and professors and any shoppers at some of the stores farther away, typically they don't park down there. And this would go a long way to appease the neighbors who can now get into the driveways. Right now they're kind of stuck with not a lot of room. And I recommend passage of this ordinance as well tonight. Thank you.
Councilor Flamenco.
Thank you, Mr. President. May I ask why 6 to 8 p.m.? It seems like we have so many different times, 7 to 8, 7 to 5, different areas. I know college classes go later, but why 6 versus 7 or?
Yep. Thank you, Councilor. Many of the neighbors there were sympathetic to some of the students who might come in for a night class and only have to have one class, and wanted to be able to provide some flexibility there. So if there is somebody there later in the night, there won't be too many cars, and they looking kind of favorably onto some of those students, but yet during the day they want to be able to turn into the driveway and have some peace of mind. So it was a compromise offered by the neighbors.
Mm-hmm. Councilor
Yes,
Flamenco.
but why 6 a.m. start? Why not a 7 or an 8 a.m. start? Because around the city, a lot of the time zones that are timed, it's usually at 7 or 8 a.m. I feel like we have too many different times going on, many places for start times.
Yeah. Thank you, Councilor. Again, this is a direct communication from the neighbors, from Salem State, and from mostly from the police department as to what would work on their behalf. And there was many dialogues between all the parties, and to stop and to distract and to not encourage parkers to park in front of there, whereas a lot of them would arrive at 6 in the morning. That's when we decided to start this. I think it's a good compromise. I think it works for that one neighborhood, which has a different type of problem where a lot of students and professors would arrive very early in the day. And once they seem to park there, it doesn't really matter what the sign says. They'll wind up staying for the whole day. So if they can sneak in there from 6 in the morning till 7, they might stay much longer if we change it to 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. A little confusing, but a lot of the people who arrive at Salem State arrive there early in the morning. And this would alleviate that from becoming all-day parking again. It's an attempt to alleviate parking there. Thank you.
Thank you. On Councilor Dibble's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Councilor Flamenco recorded opposed. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll take this for you. City of Salem City Council on February 25th, 2016 ordered that the city solicitor and the chair of the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs meet to draft a home rule petition allowing for the use of Spanish language ballots in the city of Salem.
On Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. It came up during the discussions that there is an ability for the city of Salem, even though we don't currently meet the threshold as required by the state for Spanish ballots, that there is a provision that allows us to petition the state legislature for that to happen. I am more than willing to sit down with I've already had a preliminary conversation with the city solicitor to bring in some language that we can bring forth in front of this body to see if we will send it off to the state legislature for their consideration to make that happen. I know there's going to be some questions with regards to the language and potentially maybe costs and whatnot, so I have no problem referring this to the committee. So when the city solicitor gets that language to me, we can bring it into committee, we can have a meeting, and then we can refer it back out to the body if that's the will. But I have no problem doing this. I think it's a good idea considering the large percentage of Spanish speaking. I know there's other languages that are spoken within the city, but the 20% or so that speak Spanish, I think this will go a long ways to help some of the issues that may result during the polling, during elections. So I'll be more than willing to sit down with the city solicitor to come back with some language for the body. And if the will is to refer it to committee, then so be it, or if the will is to just bring it back once the city solicitor has it, and then we can debate that either way.
Thank you. Councilor Lovely.
Yeah, I would like to support sending it to committee. I certainly would be happy, having been legal counsel and Secretary of State. I think I have some insight that I can provide. We're also going to have a meeting in Government Services regarding voting for all voting issues, and I hope that we can dovetail that request if the council chooses to make it at that time. So I would ask that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinance and Legal Affairs.
Councilor Ferry, let me just clarify.
Councilor Torrio.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to clarify, this order is to go and create the home rule petition language that we will then be bringing in and dealing with by either voting on it or sending it to committee at this point. So I don't see a reason to send the request to develop the home rule petition to committee, but once the language of the petition comes back from the city solicitor, then at that point referring it to the Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs to make sure we have everything the way we want it before we act on it. That would be I believe, the appropriate action. Councilor Lovely.
I just think that it would be redundant. We could have one meeting, meet with the city solicitor, she could draft it, perhaps get it back to us next meeting, and then if appropriate, we'll vote out of committee, and if appropriate, the council will vote for it. So I don't see the sense of having the chairman meet with the city solicitor and then come back into the council to bring something forward, then refer it to committee. If you want to get this done quickly, I think that we should just get it to committee.
Councilor McCarthy.
I agree with Councilor Lovely. I think that, obviously, I've already had a preliminary discussion, knowing that this order was coming in with the city solicitor to try to look at some of the language that may be needed. Once the language is in place, I mean, we have a regularly scheduled meeting before our next council meeting. We can bring the city solicitor in, as she usually does. She can show us the language. I can then introduce it to the council at that point, or if during that committee meeting, if there's more discussions that want to go on prior to us bringing it in, then we can do that as well, so we can keep it in committee. So I understand the order is just to draft the language, but then once we get the language, then we have to come back and have this debate about where it goes. Just put it in committee and just bring it in, and there is a whole bunch of the moving parts at the same time. Either way, it doesn't, but I respect Councilor Lovely's opinion on that, because it just helps speed up the process, so to speak.
Councilor Epley.
I support this going to committee because we're already dealing with it in committee, but I just want to thank the council president as well as Councilor Lovely as well as Councilor McCarthy for bringing light to this, and to the extent that we can make our ballots more accessible, period, to citizens within the city of Salem, that is a positive. So I'm in full support of that. Thank you.
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. President. As a for instance, we could word it the use of foreign language ballots, so that anybody with any issue with foreign languages can get a ballot at whatever that language may be. Why would we only be one to help one group that doesn't speak English? I know I have neighbors that speak Russian, for instance. If wherever they voted there were a few ballots in Russian, that would help them vote. So why wouldn't we want to help every group of any different, anybody that speaks a language other than English? Why wouldn't just have the possibility of making the ballot in any language, not just Spanish? Thank you.
Councilor Famico, then Councilor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. Not related to this, but related to this. In the case of our school system, it's usually a certain percentage, and then at that point, we have things in different languages. That's why when students get their report cards, or students get their reading reports, it might be sent home in Spanish or Albanian, and a couple other different languages. It's usually due to percentage. And with this, it's usually for the state, I believe it's 20% or more of a population to get this. We're quite close to that in Salem, and the numbers are rising, especially with the census forms now going out in Spanish. We're realizing that numbers have risen, and we're actually catching up to that. So we're nearly at that 20% anyhow. I do acknowledge there are other language speakers as well, but we have such a high percentage in the city, whether it's in the schools or in our neighborhoods. We need to do a lot more for that. And also there is a cost connected to everything. Unfortunately, money is a factor in this world.
Councilor Gerard and then Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I agree with my colleague that it would be great, and with my colleagues that it would be great to have it in other languages, but just to be clear, there is no official language for this country, that we are not officially English speaking. So I think the term foreign language, I don't think that wouldn't work. We would have problems there. The other thing that I would ask, that if this is going to go to OLA, that it would be co-posted, the committee of the whole.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have no problem co-posting that meeting as well. And at the same time as I'll have the discussion with the city solicitor prior to the meeting, and then we can vet this all out of the meeting as to what the specific language is going to be relative to how the home rule petition goes, and whether it's, I don't know how the wording goes, and I hear what Council Sargent's saying, but I'm not sure. I know that there's and I'm not sure what the percentages are, as everyone's alluded to. That's why I really feel that I'll work with the city solicitor initially to get something that's actually in front of us. I think we just save a step by doing it that way, so we can get something in front of us that we can talk about and see how we can work the language to make sure it is accommodating to. The ultimate goal is, irregardless of cost. I mean, obviously cost is a factor, but irregardless of cost, it's just it's the ability for everyone, whatever their language is, to have the ability to go in and vote and to, take part of the electoral process as we all want them to. So, and if it works out that we can accommodate more than one language during this thing, I'm not sure. I don't have that answer, and I don't want to go speak on the record because of that, because I'm not sure. So, but we'll take it up and we'll bring it out in committee, and we'll vet it all out and figure it all out, and hopefully it works.
So on the motion to refer to ordinances, license, legal affairs, co-post to the committee of the whole, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Council, March 10th, 2016, ordered that the Director of Park, Recreation, and Community Services raise the Irish flag at Raleigh Plaza on March 14th through March 17th, 2016, in honor of St. Patrick's Day.
We'll waive rules to allow discussion, provided there's no objection. I was taking the place of formerly Councilor O. Epley for this.
O. Epley. Try to wipe the cobwebs off being back on the council. This was something that Councilor O'Leary, Ward 4 Councilor, did for a long time. Then I did it, and then Councilor O. Epley did it. And they bring it every year and raise the Irish flag. And I think the city does a good job with raising every nationality's flag. And you see it in front of the Hawthorne Hotel, does the different things too. And it just got me thinking about Lenny O'Leary and Councilor O'Keefe and all those people that served this council and the Irish heritage, how the Irish eyes are smiling. And then I'm totally slipping because I forgot my green tie with Councilor McCarthy, the green shirt.
I would note our dean went for all green today.
But I went to the Celtics game last night, so I think I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor O'Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in full support of my colleague, and I hope that I did him proud for the past couple of years. I'm happy to hand the reins over to Councilor Ryan again. And on behalf of Ward 4, which has a large Irish American population, and specifically the AOH, thank you very much. And I wish I could say that in Gaelic. But
on Councilor Ryan's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem City Council, March 10th, 2016. The Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, to whom was referred the matter of certain licenses, has considered said matter and recommend approval. Pawnbroker and tag days.
On adoption of the committee report, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President.
Thank you. On adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. Further committee reports. Councilor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and the City Council, March 10, 2016. The Committee on Administration and Finance, to whom was referred the matter of an appropriation in the amount of $50,000 from capital outlay renovations and repairs for improvements to the Joseph O'Keefe Sr. Fire Station on Loring Avenue, has considered said matter and would recommend approval of the order.
On adoption of the committee report, all those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a meeting earlier this evening prior to the regular City Council meeting in which Chief Cody attended from our fire department. We were just wanting to make sure that there were enough funds expended and dedicated for what was being planned to essentially spruce up the fire station before we officially rededicate it as Councilor O'Keefe, Joseph O'Keefe Sr. Fire Station. Chief Cody had said that there are approximately 9 windows that we're replacing, along with some other upkeep responsibilities, and as well as a plaque that's going to be put together as well for this. This doesn't address all of the windows for the fire station. We certainly hope that we see that in the upcoming budget from the mayor, that we see that fire station is completely brought up to snuff. But we're very happy and would recommend approval.
Councilor Fury.
Mr. President, I'm sitting in Councilor O'Keefe's seat, and I think nothing would please Councilor O'Keefe looking down today, and well, I think about tomorrow, and Councilor Lovely's next time, Senator Lovely's next time tomorrow at Finn's, celebrating St. Patrick's Day. Nothing would make him more happy to have that fire station named after him. Salem State College is right across the way. He's only a stone's throw from his house and family. So to recognize and respect his role and responsibility sitting here for these years as Dean of the City Council is a living legacy to a man that dedicated his service to public safety. Teaching at Salem State University, being on the committee at Salem State College to make Salem State College a university. He made a great partnership between Ward 7 and Salem State University, in which I graduated from, and some of us graduated from. So thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing the plaque, and looking forward to the ceremony for Councilor O'Keefe. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As the newest councilor on this board, but one who has taken the seat of Councilor Joe O'Keefe in Ward 7, it gave me great privilege tonight to vote with my other 4 committee members to begin the work to restore the O'Keefe Center, the fire station that we're going to name after Councilor O'Keefe. It'll be a great day when we all gather there on Loring Avenue and cut a ribbon and dedicate and showcase this restored building, restored firehouse. And Joe up there right now is laughing at me for my bumble, but I know he'll be smiling bigger than any Irishman ever when that ribbon is cut and we dedicate the firehouse in his name for as many years of dedication. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Lovely.
Just through you to Councilor Ward 7, will there be any parking available here?
Yes, there will be. And,
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you.
I just want to rise too and recognize my good friend and colleague and former colleague, and he's passed away. But I will say one thing: if I know Joe, he's looking down at me right now and he's saying, "Bobby, I don't." He would want this for his family. He wouldn't want it for himself. I know he's down. He's like he'd be hitting me in the arm and telling me, "Bobby, I don't want this. I don't need this pomp. I don't need this circumstance. It's all about." He would prefer that we were spending the money on a new fire truck as opposed to putting some money in to help fix this and rename it as. But I do appreciate everything that's being done. I'm sure his family does as well. But it's more in recognition for him. But I'm sure he wouldn't want it. And but I'm sure, but for the family, they deserve it. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking forward to that day, and I'm looking forward to seeing all his family again. I run into him periodically, and They're great, he has a great family, and they're a great Salem institution for a lot of years, and it's gonna be a really nice day when we dedicate that in his honor. But I know he's looking down at me right now and saying, Bobby, you're saying the right things, I don't want this. I mean, it's great that we're naming it after me, but he'd prefer that we went out and bought new hoses or something, I don't know what we want, but it's gonna be a good day when we do that.
Thank you.
And I hope there is parking.
On Councillor Epley's...
Joe would say, move the question.
Yep.
Move the question.
On Councillor Epley's motion for adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Communication city officials, none. Petitions.
We have the following license application for public guide.
Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this application be granted.
Councillor McCarthy moves this be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President.
Thank you.
On Councillor McCarthy's motion, this be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 2 tag day applications.
Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
On Councillor McCarthy's motion, these be referred to Committee on Ordinance, Licensed Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 1 drain layer contract operator license.
Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this application, this license be granted.
Councillor McCarthy's motion, this be granted. Under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President.
On the motion, this be granted. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 4 claims.
Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs.
On Councillor McCarthy's motion, these be referred to Committee on Ordinance, Licensed and Legal Affairs. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further petitions.
We have 1 constable bond, 1 drain layer bond, and 1 sign bond.
Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on License, Orders, and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
On Councillor McCarthy's motion, these be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licensed and Legal Affairs, returned approved. No discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Unfinished business.
We have an order to declare a parcel of land as surplus property at 297-305 Bridge Street with a condition of permanent utility easement.
Councillor Epley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole.
On Councillor Epley's motion, this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. Under discussion?
No discussion.
Councillor Sargent?
Excuse me. I think these are already before us, and aren't we holding a public meetings on these?
We held
already?
it.
No. Huh?
We held it. So it's now going to committee.
This one is already done?
Yeah, we've
All right,
done.
I just want to make sure this one was already done.
We had 2 of that one.
Very well. Those 2 are okay? Good. Thank you.
So, on Councillor Epley's motion, this be referred to the Committee on Administration and Finance, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole. All those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending Chapter 2, Article 4, Boards, Commissions, Committees, and Authorities by adding Division 17 Youth Commission.
I think that was that actually Councillor McCarthy, or?
It was, sir.
Councillor McCarthy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for second and final passage.
On Councillor McCarthy's motion for second and final passage, under discussion.
No discussion, Mr. President.
Thank you. On the motion for second and final passage, all those in favor? Opposed? So moved. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance amending Traffic, Chapter 42, Section 57A, Parking Time Limited Unmetered Zone, 73 feet south of Gardner Street for a distance of 54 feet in front of 75 Canal Street, 15-minute parking, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5:30 p.m.
Councillor Gerard.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for second and final passage.
Councillor Gerard moves for second and final passage. Under discussion.
No discussion.
On Councillor Gerard's motion for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. Councillor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Councillor Fury moves we adjourn. All those in favor? All those opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.